good evening. Welcome to Good Game, the show for gamers by gamers. I'm Hex.
And I'm Barjo. Hex, it's the quiet time of year, post-E3 and pre-Christmas, but a perfect time to whittle away at those piles of shame. Is there anything you've been working on?
Well, I finally polished off those last arson missions in LA Noire, and I've got to say, I found the ending a little bit underwhelming.
Yeah, it felt like one of those Hollywood test audience endings, didn't it? Pretty messy.
I've also been replaying Oblivion in anticipation of Skyrim. I joined the Thieves Guild this time, and I'm loving it. But what about you? What have you been playing? Battlefield.
Yeah, I'm really obsessed with Battlefield Bad Company too. And I'm almost at 200 hours in this game now, and I'm still finding new strategy and just new things to do. I'm super depressed about my kill-death ratio though, because I'm shenanigans guy, but it really hurts my statistics.
Shenanigans over kill-death ratio, I like it.
Yeah.
Fire in the hole.
But we have had some time to check out some new games. It's not a complete gaming void out there because the elemental god game From Dust has washed up upon our shores.
Yeah, the tidal wave of doom in that game is so stressful. Plus, we'll be revisiting the world of Fallout with some new DLC, Old World Blues, that will reinvigorate your love for stim packs and scorpions.
And Hex, I think it's time we tested out Goose's reviewing skills.
Yes, and we have the perfect game for him. But before all that, can you name the game for this week?
That brings back memories.
Prize to give away this week, Barjo?
Yes, but I'm saving it for the end of the show.
Ooh, mysterious. Well, I'm off to read the news.
And mysterious Barjo.
Nintendo has, for the first time in its history, posted a quarterly financial loss. Following flagging sales of the Wii and lackluster demand for the 3DS, the company saw its stock drop by 12%.
Hey, it's okay. Don't cry.
With former boss Hiroshi Yamauchi losing $300 million as the company's largest single shareholder. Nintendo's response has been to lower the price of the 3DS, with Nintendo President Satoru Iwata slashing his own salary by 50%, and other company directors taking salary cuts between 20 and 30%. Since Electronic Arts launched its digital distribution service Origin, some of its games have been removed from the rival service Steam. The games removed so far include Crysis 2 and Dragon Age 2, and Steam users are currently unable to pre-order EA's upcoming Battlefield 3. EA has issued a statement over the removals, claiming it is not responsible and that the games were removed by Steam due to restrictive terms of service which limit how developers sell downloadable content.
Stand by! 3, 2, 1, suppress it!
EA insists that they are working on a solution to restore their games on the Steam platform. The game True Crime Hong Kong, cancelled earlier this year by Activision, has now been picked up by publisher Square Enix.
Whatever happens, just remember, we are the good guys.
The rights to the True Crime franchise, however, were not part of the deal, meaning the game will require a whole rebranding.
Just keep your cool and everything will run smoothly.
The title will be finished by the original developers, United Front Games, with no release date currently set. Two tragic deaths have hit the gaming industry recently. Takeshi Miyagi, the designer of Slipheed, Gun Griffin and Grandia, as well as the founder of Tokyo-based studio Game Arts, has passed away unexpectedly at the age of 45. And Steve Lacy, a former Microsoft Game Studios developer who worked on the Crimson Skies and Flight Simulator series, was accidentally killed in a road rage accident after a drunk driver collided with his car while attempting to hit another vehicle.
Good game!
You are all that stands in their way. Execute their leader and purge the orcs to the last.
Warhammer 40K Kill Team is a downloadable twin-stick co-op shooter and something that's no doubt designed to tide Warhammer fans over until the third-person action of Space Marine comes out later this year.
The story is pretty basic. You play as a member of a Space Marine kill team that's infiltrated an Orc cruiser in order to bring it down. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, this is pretty standard old-school gameplay. You get to choose between one of 4 types of Marine, each with varying strengths in melee and ranged attacks, and there's a bunch of perks to unlock that boost your health or make you dish out extra damage and so on.
Rapid fire.
As you move through the levels laying waste to Orcs, you'll be picking up power-ups like Rapid Fire, Invulnerability, Bubble Shields, and double, triple, or even quad fire. And these aren't to be wasted willy-nilly because you can only ever have one active at any time. That means you can't stack health restore with rapid fire, for example.
And often you'll have to hold one location against waves of enemies, so picking up the power-ups at the right time is often the difference between life and death. It's all very score-based, with kills resulting in satisfying numbers flying into the air, rewarding you with multipliers, all while leaderboards track your accomplishments.
There's also a pretty cool special move for each class you can activate once you've killed enough baddies. I liked how the camera shifts around to give you lots of different perspectives on the action as well. But that's about all the good I can say about this game, really, because, Hex, I need to put on my rant pants.
Oh dear.
I'm already wearing them. This game is designed for co-op, and it's really only fun in co-op, and it's called Kill Team, but you're stuck with offline two-player co-op. It's just not good enough, and to make matters worse, at each turn it feels like they're rubbing that bad decision in your face. Each mission shows you the 4 types of Space Marine, as well as the co-op score, which has a picture of 4 Space Marines. Come on, you've got 4 types of Space Marine. Why are we stuck with two-player co-op offline?
Yeah, it does seem to be a massive wasted opportunity, doesn't it? And it sucks because the basics of the game just aren't good enough to hold up without it. There are a few bits in the game where you just get ganked playing solo, and with no roll or dodge button, it just feels sluggish.
Playing this game unlocks a power sword you can use in Space Marine, but it just makes it feel a bit like a marketing exercise, or maybe just a stopgap game that didn't get enough development love. Also, they got the weapons wrong. The plasma cannon is a slow, single-shot weapon with a wide AoE, not some rapid-fire laser. I'm giving it 4 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Look, if we just accept it for what it is, it's an alright bit of mindless fun, and if you're a 40K fan, then you might get a bit of a kick out of it, but it's still only getting 5 from me.
And now time for some Fallout DLC, which has always been a bit hit and miss. Fallout 3's Operation Anchorage and The Pit were the pits, but Broken Steel and Point Lookout were just excellent. Fallout New Vegas has had 2 bits of pretty average DLC, but all that changes with Old World blues.
Now, big spoiler warning here. This new mission isn't that long by Fallout standards, so it was a bit hard for us to review it without showing at least a few spoilers.
Now, cue old-timey music juxtapositioned with violence, if you please.
After receiving a mysterious broadcast, as seems to be the Fallout way, you head out to the local drive-in where you're promptly knocked unconscious. You awaken inside a research facility known as the Sink, and soon learn that this sheltered facility was created for science long before the world went to hell. So there's all sorts of technology to discover and secrets to unlock.
The Sink resides in a giant crater surrounded by pylons that destroy anyone who tries to leave. You're also covered in scars and you don't know why. Quickly, you're introduced to 5 rather mad robots and their arch-nemesis named Dr. Mobius.
If it isn't my old colleagues, the mighty think tank of Big Mountain. Big fools, all of you.
Your main goal becomes to retrieve your brain, which has been replaced with Tesla coils, and swipe as much tech as you can along the way. I loved these characters. The robots are hilarious, and it's interesting watching them bicker at each other.
You always do this. You always demean me in front of guests. Enough! Either of you do it again, it'll be the last time.
Yeah, the writing is excellent. I just love the household companions. The toaster, whose mission in life is to destroy other appliances.
Tremble, world, before my electric heating coil of doom!
The sexy farming unit.
I'm a seed cloning machine.
The flirty light switches.
That bitch. She thinks she's so much better than everybody just because her processors are bigger.
And of course, Muggy, a mug-obsessed robot.
Of course I'm obsessed. They made me this way.
You can actually upgrade all of these units for buffs and other bonuses, but you need to collect things to upgrade them, so it turns you into a bit of a mad kleptomaniac.
I already was a kleptomaniac. I have so many gnomes and chessboards. There's a real notable Portal vibe here. In fact, some of the quests you go on will send you into research facilities where you undergo a variety of tests. They're not mind-bending by any means, but they are fun. It's a shame there weren't more of those, but you can run them again for extra rewards.
In fairness, most of the questing revolves around some pretty mediocre fetch quests, but the combat and exploration is rewarding. In the end, they've given us Fallout fans what we want here. New gear, new weapons, and decent story.
I like the sonic emitter very much, and it can bust open force fields too once you upgrade it, and it's very useful against robots, of which there are many to dispatch. There's other loots as well, but we won't spoil them for you, but trust us when we say the loots be fat.
There aren't many new enemies, though I did love the skeletal lobotomites. The robot scorpions are tough too, even with the level cap raised, and still get your ass kicked. And that's a good thing, I think, Barjo, because most of the people interested in the DLC for this game will have finished the main campaign, and there's a good 8 to 10 hours worth of gameplay here, maybe even more if you're into achievements and exploration. Final thoughts?
Well, I should be sick of Fallout by now, but I really enjoyed this DLC, mainly because the ending was much better than the main campaign ending. There are a few bugs here, and I am getting a bit tired of the visuals, and I do want that gunplay to be better, but I still had a good time, so I'm giving it 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
You know, I'd really like to see Obsidian use the DLC to explore the aftermath of the main campaign in New Vegas, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. But Old World Blues is easily the best DLC released so far because it has the right balance of humour, action, and exploration. So I'm giving it 7 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Good game.
The A-10C Warthog is one of the roughest, toughest, meanest looking aircraft in the skies today.
So when the latest in the Digital Combat series landed on our desk, we thought it best to hand the review over to someone who had the appropriate knowledge and experience.
Here you go, Goose. Starting out in something nice and simple.
Yeah, it's this flying game where you fly around and shoot stuff. It's really cool.
Thanks, guys. I'll do my best.
Don't screw it up.
If you've ever played a flight simulator before, you'll know it's more about learning the fine intricacies and details of flight instead of just doing barrel rolls. Well, Eagle Dynamics has taken it one step further, creating an ultra-realistic flight simulator, putting you in charge of one of the most powerful planes in the US Air Force, the A-10C, nicknamed the Warthog. It's an ugly-looking sucker, famous for its lack of glamour and finesse, but what it lacks in the looks department, it makes up for in sheer brutality. The Warthog is primarily a tank killer, armed with air-to-ground missiles, along with its trademark weapon, the 30mm Avenger cannon. This baby is renowned as one of the deadliest aircraft to ever soar the skies. The first thing you need to know about A-10C is that it is a hardcore simulator first and a game second. And like any good simulator out there, you're going to have to learn everything there is to know about the aircraft before you even think about getting one off the tarmac. The online flight manual is a whopping 700 pages long, and you'll need to refer to it constantly in flight, as the terminology used would be beyond anyone who's not already a trained pilot. You'll be performing every task as if you were flying the Warthog in real life. Pre-flight checks, configuring payloads, tuning radio frequencies. I mean, if you actually learnt how to master this game, I'm pretty sure you could fly one in real life. The game can be played with a keyboard and mouse setup, and while there is the option to switch to a more simplified game control, if you've never played a flight sim before, or you don't have a joystick set up at home, you might want to try cutting your teeth on something a little simpler or arcadey before jumping into the deep end with this one.
Good morning. In this mission, we will practice the startup procedure for the A-10C. There's a lot to cover, so feel free to take a break by pressing the pause key at any point.
There are a handful of lessons that help you familiarise yourself with the aircraft, and an instructor will help you through most of the basics like taking off, landing, and some combat manoeuvres. But don't expect to have your hand held for very long, as the learning curve for this game is incredibly steep.
Set the left and right yaw and pitch SAS channels on the SAS panel on the left console to on.
Miss a couple of steps or hit the wrong switch and you'll quickly find yourself in a nosedive.
Altitude, altitude.
I personally found it hard not hitting every switch and button before takeoff, especially when the instructor asked me so politely not to.
It will be important for you to follow my instructions to the letter. Do not jump ahead and start mashing buttons and throwing switches.
You can choose to fly full career, fast missions, or instant action if you just want to get straight up in the sky. The missions start out simple enough. You'll be attacking defenseless convoys before moving on to tanks, AA guns, and the occasional chopper. Combine this with the already overwhelming amount of controls just to keep the thing airborne, and you'll understand why this is a true game for connoisseurs of flight sims. The aircraft models are meticulously detailed both inside and out. And while some of the explosions are a little lackluster, weather effects like flying over a shimmering ocean or lightning storm can be beautifully distracting. While personally I found it a bit overwhelming and confusing, if you're a hardcore simmer who is ready to dedicate hours, days, even months to becoming a professional Warthog pilot, then this game can't come recommended enough. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 rubber chickens. Now, back to the cockpit.
Most games have meticulously crafted worlds, intricately planned levels full of minute details hand-built by teams of designers. But sometimes they throw caution to the wind and let us mess around like kids in a sandbox using just a few tools, a few rules, and our imaginations. The idea arguably started back in 1985 when a fresh-faced whippersnapper of a developer named Will Wright was making his first game, Raid on Bungling Bay. The game was a top-down helicopter shoot-'em-up, but Wright realised something while making it, that he had more fun building the world than actually flying around in it. And so that seed slowly grew in his head, blossoming into the 1989 classic SimCity. This first game in the series did little more than allow players to build roads and hand out zoning permission, but that was more than enough to give gamers a refreshing sense of control and creative freedom. We were actually having a hand in the design of the game world. Meanwhile, another fresh-faced developer, Peter Molyneux, was working on his PC strategy title Populous and encountering a problem. He didn't know how to code the little AI people to navigate around the world properly. The solution? Give gamers the power to manipulate the world, and in doing so, figure out how to direct and funnel the AI through the landscape. And so, the God Game was born. Over the years since then, we've seen game after game follow in those early footsteps, letting us build and create just about everything we could imagine. Theme parks, dungeons, evil genius lairs, hospitals, the afterlife, movie studios, ant colonies, office towers, the list goes on. Despite giving us a fair degree of creative freedom, those games didn't really let us build or create anything other than exactly what the game wanted us to. And it's only been quite recently we've started to see the true potential of giving players almost limitless scope to create and interact with their game worlds. Perhaps the growth of user-generated content was born from the realization that, given half a chance, gamers will go the extra mile to create content that appeals directly to them. Games like Quake and later Half-Life let bedroom coders flex their know-how, and as a result we now have classic games like Team Fortress and Counter-Strike. But of course, these days you don't need to know how to code to bring your ideas to life, since developers are building the tools we need right into the games. Halo 3 and Halo Reach gave us Forge, for example, a simple but powerful map editor. And while it certainly wasn't the first map editor to ever come with a game, it was built into the experience in a much more user-friendly way, making the process of creating and sharing our own custom game types and maps that much easier, while also letting some of the more creative types test their art skills. And of course, Little Big Planet banked big on the idea. Not only did it offer an intricate level editor, but it connected it to a huge online community, letting us easily share and sample the fruits of creativity from all over the globe. And the sequel took the idea much further, giving us far greater control over our creations. We've seen first-person shooters, arcade-style beat-em-ups, puzzle games, racing games, and more, all created with just a few tools and a healthy imagination. But even those games that were designed to get us designing couldn't have predicted the power of this. And no, it isn't Minecraft, it's Infiniminer, a simple open source game where the objective was to mine resources, bring them back to base, and score points for your team. Very quickly, players realized it was just more fun to muck about and build stuff. One Notch Pearson in particular realized that, and went on to more or less take all those ideas and fashion them into his own game, Minecraft. Minecraft has gone on to become the ultimate creative game, the dig-em-up if you will, like an infinite Lego set for gamers. Even in its unfinished state, we've seen creations that boggle the mind. A recreation of the world map from Zelda: A Link to the Past, a version of Bioshock's Rapture, working computers, roller coasters, train stations, dance floors, pointless sandwave things, devious death traps, cheap cannons, the entire Earth. Chances are, if you can dream it, you can build it. And since its release, well, its pre-release beta period, Minecraft itself has inspired budding game designers, with no doubt more than a few interesting spins on the concept to come. With new technologies, we're seeing new creative possibilities emerge. From Dust, for example, recreates the natural cycles of the world, but lets us truly play like gods in the sand, sculpting the landscape to our whims, building mountains or sand towers, and watching the tide wash them away. Giving players creative freedom is a tried and true mechanic for fun. From building our own cities to crafting entire worlds, when it comes to our own imaginations, the sky is the limit.
So there were games before this, but one game that really sticks out as probably my favorite game of all time was called Gunstar Heroes by Treasure. I absolutely loved it. I loved the co-op mode in it, and it was the first game that I saw, you know, a lot of the magazines and were giving it hundreds. So it absolutely changed the way I couldn't wait to come home and play it over and over. So.
Good game.
From Dust is the latest game from game designer Eric Chahi, the man behind Another World, one of the greatest games ever. In From Dust you play as the Breath, a supernatural being summoned into existence by an ancient tribe to protect them on their journey through a series of treacherous landscapes.
You're a godlike vacuum cleaner, basically. You can breathe in a lungful of any element, like dirt, molten lava, or water, and then breathe it out to sculpt the landscape before you. You'll be building bridges, blocking lava flows, and redirecting rivers, all to keep your little tribe safe.
Yes, safe so they can get building themselves. The basic challenge is to get your tribe to set up villages around a variety of totems that exist within each level. Once that has been achieved, a portal will open up that will lead you into the next level, but it's easier said than done. There'll be rushing rivers and lava flows, as well as regular disasters like volcanic eruptions trying to wipe you off the face of the earth.
Setting up a village on a totem also grants a special power, like Jellyfy Water or Infinite Earth. And there are also two types of knowledge stones that you need to send your tribesmen to collect. One protects against water, the other against fire and lava. Get these back to your village and your tribe can just dance their way through even the biggest tsunami or lava flow.
You only need one village that's safe to be able to send out your tribesmen to new objectives. You can leave some villages to dance for eternity while a wall of water or lava builds around them. But even so, you can't dilly-dally. Disasters are always mere minutes away, and you need to plan out which totem to move to next based on which power can help you get your tribe further. It can get so intense watching those tribesmen hurry those stones back to your village seconds before a tsunami's about to hit.
Yeah, and you have to pay careful attention to what's happening all the time because it can be easy to miss new problems and then by the time you do realise it's too late. For instance, on this level I was just hoovering up dust without realising it was exposing new springs that rapidly flooded everything until I cottoned on to how to quickly block them up.
It's a stunning game to watch too, the way the water rolls over the land and forms streams and rivers. How trees spread out and slow down erosion, the way lava slowly builds mountains and forms new land as it hits the ocean. And the waves. Best video game water ever.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I could watch those tsunami waves just roll over islands for hours. As you play through, you'll unlock challenge mode maps. These are quick little timed challenges which have you doing everything from simply putting out fires to frantically saving a sinking island. I really liked these. They're clever little puzzles and the last few are really tricky. You'll also unlock tribe memories, which are basically little descriptions of plants and animals and things in the world, and I liked these less. I mean, I kind of just read the first few lines of the first one and then I didn't go back to it.
Yeah, oh my god, I don't need to read. Boring. What isn't boring though is how they've gone to town with this engine. Each time I thought I'd seen everything this game had to offer, it would reveal some new awesome idea to me.
Yeah, I've got to say I expected From Dust to be a really relaxing, zen-like world builder, but it's actually quite tense. I'd even call it a kind of action god game.
Yeah, and all those tribal drums and vuvuzelas just add to the tension. Final thoughts?
Playing around in this world and manipulating the elements is really fun, and it's such a good feeling when you save your tribe and get them safely on their way. This is one of those games that you find yourself thinking about even when you're not playing it. I'm giving it 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I love that final level where you can just go nuts and build whatever you like, and making mini tsunamis by putting mountains in the ocean never gets old. At first I thought those challenges were a bit tacked on, but now I've spent more time with it, I think they add a nice extra puzzle element to the game, so I'm giving it 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Good game.
So did you guess the game for this week? It was Heart of Darkness for the PC and PlayStation from 1998, a side-scrolling puzzle platformer that had you rescuing your dog Whiskey from another dimension. The gameplay is similar to the PC classic Another World because it's another game from the brain of Eric Chahi. Chahi brought us this week's From Dust.
Told you had a prize to give away, Hex. A few weeks ago, we challenged you to send in a picture of yourself at your utmost daggers in order to win this replica of a leather jacket worn by Garcia Hotspur in Shadows of the Damned, and I do believe we have a winner.
Well, indeed we do, Badge. We had a plethora of eye-watering picks to choose from, but a big congratulations to our winner, James D. Donner, who is definitely in need of a makeover based on that evidence. We'll get the leather jacket sent out to you, quick smart.
We have another prize. In fact, another competition over on Spawn Point this weekend on ABC3. It's a copy of Ocarina of Time signed by Eiji Aonuma.
Alongside Shigeru Miyamoto, Eiji Aonuma has worked on just about every Zelda game, so this is a seriously precious prize. Make sure to watch Spawn Point to find out how you can get your hands on it.
That's all the time we have for this week. Next week, we'll be having a look at a mysterious conspiracy surrounding the game Trials HD.
There is a number of Easter eggs or secrets that have been hidden within the game. What we've actually subsequently found out is that all of these individual clues, as significant and interesting as they are by themselves, it actually turns out that they're all part of a larger riddle that exists within the game.
Sounds intriguing. Till next time, gamers, may all your Triforce pieces be joined as one. Hex out.
Budju out. I'll watch this between now and when we post it. Unless you don't want me to.